All right, Steve, let's head up to Tallahassee. They are right now, Clemson is already putting belt to ass. It's 10-0, but they could be scoring again here in the first quarter. Florida State has two official visitors on campus, positions of need, offensive lineman Daniel Pierre-Louis and Mario Nash, who's committed to Mississippi State. Mario Nash, he's been a name that keeps popping up a little bit more and more, not just with FSU, but a lot of teams trying to flip the talented offensive tackle committed to Mississippi State.
Josh, I lost you there. Vanderbilt fans all over the field right now getting messages.
As they should be.
Which young man were you asking me about?
I was asking you about Mario Nash, committed to Mississippi State. Yeah. I just said his name's been popping up more and more across the country in terms of teams that are trying to kick the tires on him. This weekend, he's taken an official visit to Florida State. So, this is kind of their last-ditch effort to make an impression on him. But what do you make of Mario Nash being in Tallahassee this weekend?
I think Florida State's got a good chance at both those offensive linemen that are on campus. Nash, Pierre-Louis. Those are guys that I think they have a chance with. My on-3 RPMs on FSU for Pierre-Louis. We'll see what happens as the season continues and this weekend continues. But Mario Nash, he was at LSU recently. Are they going to turn it up? What's Mississippi State going to do as they, work to keep him in the fold? But he's definitely got genuine interest in Florida State. This isn't his first time on campus. And, for Florida State, they got to rebound in this game. There's a lot of prospects on campus that could really help them in the future. This coaching staff, Mike Norvell, they're not having the kind of year they want to have. There will be some changes on this coaching staff following the season, especially if it continues to trend this way. But they look to bounce back quickly next year. And then obviously the portal will be huge in that regard. But there's some recruits on campus that could really help them turn it back around quickly. And they got to play better. And show them that this is a place where they can come in and be competitive, because you're only as good as your last ball game. A lot of these kids don't have the mentality that Mike Norvell has had a couple good seasons at Florida State and historically has been a pretty damn good coach. So they got to get it together here against Clemson. I have not seen one play of that game yet. So other than your analysis of that ball game a minute ago, that's all I know.
Well, as you were saying, Florida State needs to play better. Clemson just threw a 25-yard screen pass for a touchdown to go up 17-0. And this is kind of the issue that Florida State's having, right? They've lost commitments from some big-time players, edge Javian Hilson, Myron Charles, the defensive lineman, Malik Clark, most recently at wide receiver. So these are all positions of need. So the transfer portal kind of failed Florida State this offseason. As big as they've hit in the transfer portal, it failed them this offseason. And that's why you see them go from undefeated regular season to struggling to win maybe 2 or 3 games this season. So with that being said, one of the massive decommitments that Florida State suffered was from one of the best edges in the country, Javian Hilson. You've been talking to Javian Hilson, and he's told you he's going to make a bunch of visits, but he's back in Tallahassee this weekend. Do you think that FSU and Hilson are still an item, and could the Noles reel him back in? Because as you said, if they're going to get better, they got to recruit better, and Javian Hilson, position in need, one of the best in America.
Well, my on-3 RPM is favoring Texas right now for Javian Hilson, but this has been a fluid recruitment. We've seen Alabama lead. We've seen Florida State lead. We like Texas now. So at any point, there could be a momentum change. I thought UCF was a major challenger for Texas. Maybe they still are, but it's Florida State getting an opportunity here to show Javian Hilson why he's such a huge need. And again, look, he doesn't have to look far to see that Florida State has competed at the highest level. It's just last year. This is just the season. They're just not having the season they want to have this year. But we saw Mike Norvell get it on track, have a couple great seasons, a 13-0 regular season last year. And they'll try and restore that real quickly next year. And Javian Hilson's a guy that could certainly help as an instant impact type true freshman.
Yeah, kind of crazy that Florida State really, truly never got to capitalize on their 13-0 regular season. This is the class that you would think, and heading into the summer, they were number 3. And as we enter October, they're almost outside the top 20. So they really need to get some wins. I mean, that's really ultimately what's going to turn it around. But like you said, probably going to have to go back to the transfer portal this offseason, because it's going to be a slow go on the recruiting trail. I mean, they're going to definitely get theirs. They got to hold on to guys like a Kevin Wynn and he's on campus. You got Solomon Thomas on campus, recently committed running back Byron Lewis also on campus. I mean, out of those names, I think defensive lineman Kevin Wynn is probably the one that a lot of teams are coming after right now. Wynn is picking up interest from Texas, from Georgia. I mean, if you're an FSU fan, who do you think you got to keep an eye on here for Wynn?
Georgia, I think, is the biggest threat there.
Okay.
For Kevin Wynn. South Carolina has been a program that he's been high on for a lot of his process as well. They got him back on campus earlier this fall. Florida State's in a battle for a lot of their commits. You know, teams are going to keep swinging at Solomon Thomas as well.
Yeah, they're going to have to. All right, Florida State fans, it's not going well right now as we watch this FSU Clemson game. Maybe they come back. Maybe they make a run. But how are you guys feeling about recruiting right now with Florida State, and how are you feeling about Mike Norvell and the team on the field? Let us know. Comment section below.